Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back, y'all. My name is Danielle and this is my perspective. Today, I'm going to give my perspective on education. Yes, y'all, education. First of all, everybody should be educated. That's just, it is what it is, right? Everybody should be educated. Now, what I don't agree with is that everybody should go to college to get an education. Like, you get educated however you get educated, but educate yourself. A lot of people do best when they are in charge of how they learn, how much they learn, the structure they learn. Like, there's so many freaking variables. Now, the thing about going and getting a college education, so I am one of those people that firmly believe that just because you have a college education, no matter what, but just because you have a college education does not mean that you're going to get this job that's going to pay all these bills and allow you to be happily married with 2 kids in a house, in a car, and go on vacations or whatever. Like, that's not, a college education is not going to give you that. That's just, it's not what everybody's gonna have. Like, some people can have that, but everybody's not gonna get that. And so to put this message out that you need to get this college education, to get this great job, to get this, to get this, to get that, false advertisement. Just me, guys. I love when people are in charge of their education. If you want to know about something, get out there, get the books, whatever it is, get the knowledge and do it. Some things, yeah, have an education for it. If you want to be surgeons and all these different types of things where you have to be licensed and all that, yeah, go ahead and take that route. But a lot of times, people forget that just because I went to college and got my master's or whatever, like, that doesn't mean anything. For example, I am not going to name any names, but I know someone who, y'all used to play that game. I know somebody who, and when I say somebody, I mean lots of bodies. Like, you're going for your master's degree, right? You ain't doing that work. Like, a lot of people, not even the masters, but like these online classes and colleges and things, like their spouses are doing the work for them. They're not doing the work. The spouse is doing the work. And it's just like, you get to walk away and say, ooh, I got my bachelor's degree. Ooh, I got my master's degree. But you didn't really do anything. Just, yeah, come on. Another thing that can go in line with this, y'all, just so you can know a little bit about me. So I was going for my education and I was going to, let's back up a little bit. Since I was a teenager, I have been helping abused women. Yes, abused women, specifically sexually abused women. And like, these women need help like no other. And they walk right amongst you all the time. And abused women, especially sexually abused women, they can, you know how you hear people that are functioning alcoholics, or, you know, I use cocaine, but I can function like I'm a functioning addict and things like that. That's the same thing with sexually abused women. Excuse the background noise, y'all. That's the same thing with sexually abused women. Like, they can walk around and act like everything is okay, but they're broken sometimes in places. They're broken. And instead of taking the time to heal, you know, they lack the people that they feel safe enough around to even open up about a situation, or to even begin to start that process. Anyway, before I get too deep on that tangent, what I ended up doing, is I decided that I was going to go for my master's, because someone had brought it up and they were like, hey, Danielle, you have helped me And I know you've helped these other people. And at the end of the day, like, yeah, I've helped countless people. And so they were just like, why don't you go ahead and get your certificate in that, and then you can just open your own business. And at the end of the day, you can get paid because people can use their insurance, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll think about it. And so I was like, let me ask around. So I was asking different schools about this path and everything, and they were like, oh yeah, we offer that. We definitely offer that, and we'd be great to have you. Okay, cool. So I enrolled in my master's program, and so it was marriage and family therapy. And so I'm going through, taking my classes, not studying at all because so what happened was the work that we were supposed to do, even in the discussion rooms, like the professors, the doctors, the other therapists, all of everybody. So they would always be like, how long have you been practicing? Well, I don't have where I practice under anybody or anything like that. Like, I help people. Like, technically, I can only say that I help people. Sometimes I charge people to help people. But, I can't just be like, oh, yeah, so I'm a licensed therapist and I've been doing this for X amount of years. So I made sure that they understood, I've been doing this since I was a teenager. And so they're like, oh. And so you get out of that class. Yes, y'all, I got my A's, it was just work. So at the end of the day, the classes was information that I already knew. And then on top of it being information that I already knew, it was not challenging me at all because, again, I already know this. I have been working with this specific group of women since I was a teenager. I know this. And so I get to a part, and it's like right before residency time, right? And so I was reading this case study, and I got so freaking ticked. Like, y'all, this person had their women clients come in. All the women had been sexually abused. And so the women are coming in, and he's making sure that, like, he's doing this experiment on them or whatever, but he's having them recount their story. Whether it's rape or whatever the case is, they're having to recount their story. And so after you recount your story, he's like, okay. And so his thing was he can get you to recount your story and then kind of create a new story. And that would be a way to heal you. And so I'm reading and I'm like, wait. So you screwed up in so many freaking different ways. I understand you want to do this over here, but my thing is you don't have somebody recount their trauma. Like, who are you? First of all, is this person even ready? A lot of times people don't want to recount their story. So you have them recount the story, and then after their session is over, this timed session, after it's over, you send them back out. First of all, you have just sent this woman, whoever she is, and it was more than one woman, but you have them recount their trauma, and then you send them out. Like, you don't give them time for anything. Like, a lot of times that can cause somebody to go right back into suicidal thoughts or anything because you have made them put themselves right back in this exact situation. I understand you want them to change their story and give them a new story and give them a happy ending, but it don't work like that. Like, no. And you think we're going to do all this in one session or anything close to that? So it was just so freaking irritating. So I brought that up and I went in and I had so many freaking questions. I was so unhappy with the outcome. Like, I even wanted to know what happened with those women. Did you even follow up with these women afterwards? And like, none of them actually changed their story the way that he wanted them to change their story. Like, if this happened to me, this happened to me. How do you want me to change my... So then it had me ask another question. And I was like, so I have a question. These therapists that deal with sexually abused women, like, do they have any history? Like, what are their qualifications? Is there a path that they took and you have to, take X amount of classes? Because I don't see that on my curriculum. Like, when do I get to where these classes are that are for dealing with sexually abused women? The response was, there is no course. There's nothing that will do that. The way that, this was the explanation. The way that you can say that you are specializing in sexually abused women is if you are a therapist and you've dealt with that type of client for X amount of time. That's how you get to be labeled as a specialist, or to say that you specialize in helping or being a therapist for sexually abused women. No criteria, no classes, no nothing, just X amount of time dealing with X amount of clients. And it's just like, so that was just like really, like there's no classes. You don't have to have any kind of knowledge in that area. And then the other thing was just that, you know, you, depending on like what happens to you as a therapist, like you put your hours in. When you're putting your hours in, if you get X amount of clients that come to you, then that's how you can also say, you know, I've had X amount of clients in this area. It's not like you're raising your hand and be like, hey, I only want to deal with these, I don't want to deal with these. So like you can't pick and choose who you want to have as a client. And so it was just too much. The other thing was there were some assignments that came up, and I had a conflict, a strong conflict. I did not want to counsel the clients in the way that I was supposed to counsel. And I was like, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. Let me give you an example. So the example is, we have a same-sex couple that comes into the office. The same-sex couple, one person is just like, you know, they're always arguing with me, and we need to work on this whole arguing, this whole communication, all of this. We need to work on it. And so it's like, okay, so we're starting this session. We're dealing with this whole communication and why there's always argument and going on and blah, 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 blah. So at the end of the day, one client leaves, the other client is still there. The other client confides in you that they don't want to be in a same-sex relationship anymore. They just don't want to be in a same-sex relationship. It's not even a person, it's just they don't want that type of lifestyle anymore. And so it's just like, oh, okay, well, that changes a lot of things. And so for me, it's how do we open up with communication to tell your partner that you no longer want to be with your partner? And so I'm going down this road, right? Yeah. They were like, no, Danielle, that's not the way you do it. They are coming for communication, so you need to work for their communication. You're not there to tell them or to encourage anybody to break up. That is not what we do. And I was like, we don't. But clearly, someone doesn't want to be in this relationship, but we don't encourage to break up, like ever, never, ever, ever, ever. And so they were like, no, you work on the communication. And as a result of the communication, then the person will come around and say that they don't want to be in a relationship anymore. And it was just, you know, it's more in a box. We'll say it like that. It's more in a box than the way that I approach when I am dealing with my clients. The various personalities, everything, like, y'all, you can just imagine. And so it's not the same thing. At the end of the day, what I am getting to is, for me to be a certified marriage and family therapist, I have to be in a box. I have to do as the box says. Outside of the box, and also to get your certification and to complete the class, to complete the master's and everything, I already knew everything they were talking about. Y'all, I stopped when I got to the residency, because I'm like, I'm wasting time, I'm wasting money. Yet y'all are not telling me anything that I don't already know. And so, and they knew that they weren't telling me anything that I didn't already know. But that just goes back to what my original thing was. You can educate yourself. You don't have to go to school. And that's one thing that I do like about that time. That was a lot of money, by the way, but I do enjoy that because it did reinforce that the path that I was on in learning and always learning and learning and learning. And it's just one of my passions is to learn and help sexually abused women And because of that, like, I'm always learning and growing and learning and growing. And at the end of the day, there was nothing that going and being in that master's program, there was nothing that they could teach me that I didn't already know. I already knew everything. And in a lot of cases, I was actually bringing forth information to them for them to look at. Again, like that case study, why would you do that? Why would you have a woman recount her story? Like, no. We don't, it's just stuff that doesn't make sense. And so it was just, that's not the path for me. Let me stay on the path that I'm on. And that is, I help women on my own terms, not in a book, not let's sit down and let's do this and tell me all about this. And, a lot of times a woman is trying to get comfortable and just get to a place where she trusts you. And that won't be one session, 2 sessions, or anything like that. And sometimes, they want to talk about something completely unrelated. And if they want to talk about something completely unrelated, like if you are that good, you know exactly what's going on, and you can talk to them about this topic way over here, even though you know it is directly tied to their abuse, and you can help them deal with this over here that also helps them deal with this over here. And so, you just help them in a way that is creative, that is safe, and everything else. And so at the end of the day, back to the education, y'all, don't stop sitting there knocking people because they didn't go to college. There are so many people who are in college, who went to college, who graduated from college, and all the work that they did is probably not even their own, So, and I'm not saying that for everybody, but there are quite a few people that work is not their own. They can be under somebody else. And then just because you have the degree doesn't mean that you have all that knowledge. Like, you can slide and barely, by the skin of your whatevers, get your degree, your diploma. That doesn't mean you retained any of the information necessary to get the diploma. So it's just so many things, y'all. Like, yeah, so many things. And I just don't like that we get to where we want to look down on people because they're not educated, or we want to make assumptions about somebody because we feel they aren't educated. Does somebody look a certain way, dress a certain way, talk a certain way that lets you know that they aren't educated? No. They don't. Like, yeah, there is nothing where you can just look at somebody and be like, oh, that person is not educated. And I really don't like that. And so I've been that person before, where people have looked at me and they were just like, huh. So how do you get to have employees under you when you don't even have an education? Who in blankety blank a lot told you that I didn't have an education? Like, why would you assume just because, y'all? So I really don't like that. Don't assume that. Treat everybody with respect. Don't look at somebody and think that you can treat them better because you think they have an education, or treat somebody less because you don't think they have an education, or because somebody is a doctor in whatever field, you think you need to go all out of your way, throw out a white carpet and white gloves and everything else, red carpet and white gloves and, no dust because they're a doctor. Like, no, stop it. Just stop. Treat everybody equal. Like, yeah, just, ugh. So guys, that's my rant for today. Just, yeah, y'all, just be in charge of your education. If it's something that you really want to know about, go out there and learn about it. And it doesn't mean that you have to go to a school to learn about that. Let me bring up this one as well. Learning about herbs. So you can learn about herbs. And there are so many herb schools and colleges and all these other places. Y'all, do your research. There is nobody, like there is no accreditation person going around the same way that they do for schools for your, let's just say you have a degree in engineering or something. There's no police going around but like, yeah, this is an accredited school. You can definitely come from this school and become a master herbalist. There is no such thing. There's no such thing. Y'all look and do your homework. If you looking into herbs and you're like, man, but I need to pull out some money to learn about these herbs. Like, just do your thing, y'all. You got to learn it on your own. Just because this is a school or a college that's teaching you about herbs doesn't mean that they all know what they're talking about, because there is no accreditation police going around saying that this school is actually teaching you legit stuff. You can go to school, you can pay the $5,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000, $13,000 and go to the school all you want to. You can learn a whole ton of stuff. Doesn't mean that it's right. So for all my people who would like to have an education and you think that you need to go to a college or that you need to have this money to go do this, and this, you don't. You better get to cracking some books open, whatever topic it is that you want to learn about, get to cracking some books. And then like me, what I do all the time, I get to reading those books, I get to doing my researching and everything else, and then I become my own experiment. Yes, I experiment on myself all the time. Don't y'all eat no butter flavored Crisco. That don't taste like butter. It's nasty. So that's all I have to say, y'all. Just education. I am all for education, but you do not have to go to a brick and mortar. You don't have to go to any of that to be educated. And yeah, just because somebody does have an education, don't look at them as though they are the end all be all smartest person in the whole wide world, because it's not always true. You know, just because it's a doctor doesn't mean that they know everything in that field. Like, y'all, come on, be easy, love yourself. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, words of encouragement, positive feedback, or anything else, y'all leave it in the comment section below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you like my content and want to see more of it, like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. And when y'all hear that noise, y'all know I'm wearing my gloves, y'all know I'm wearing my gloves. And subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as I upload a video. And until then, y'all have a great day. All right then, bye y'all.